Yo, it's your boy 2 Cent. It's Thursday. It's 7:30 p.m. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. We're not supposed to have that. Can't say that. Can't do that live on television. My bad. We're live on YouTube tonight. I'm also giving a sneak peek to my friends over on TikTok because I know you guys love hearing what I say. You're just a little hesitant about following me over to TikTok. I'm sorry, over to YouTube, but you're going to come over because we're having a great time tonight. I think you guys love my shirt. Quick shout out to Proud Not Loud, who gave me not this shirt, but they gave me a pen that I wanted to show you guys. And then KC Creations gave me this one right here. Everyone gets a free plug. I love helping out small creators online. All you guys got to do is send me cool stuff. That's a pretty decent plug. All right, what are we going to do tonight? We're going to talk about great success. Is great success. Is number one in all the world. Great success. I don't know if you saw it. I don't know if you missed it. I don't even know if you knew it happened, but Supreme Leader Biden came forth. They woke him from his nap. They injected him with his go juice, whatever that might be. These are called jokes, YouTube. I don't know this to be true. I'm not a doctor. I'm not asserting these things to be true. Once upon a time, we were allowed to make jokes. I like making jokes. So, anyway, out came the president to tell us how actually successful he was. I got to tell you, you guys know that I could see the future. I didn't make predictions on this one, but I kind of thought he was going to do a soft reset. We talked a little bit about that on my TikTok live when you guys were on with me early. You're getting a sneak peek, not for that long. I'm going to kick you guys out of here in a minute. But I thought he was going to do a soft reset. At some point, he has to see that the agenda is not accepted by the country. At some point, he has to see that a 50-50 in the Senate and I think a 5 or 6 seat lead in the House is not a mandate to entirely recreate the country. That is a mandate 20, 2 for 2024. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Maybe not all the way to the White House, but maybe something. I do appreciate you guys jumping in here to interact with me. You would have to think at some point he has to know he does not have a mandate to recreate entirely this country. He has the exact opposite mandate. He has the mandate to work with the other side. And if you can't, then we want you to leave it the way it is. I mean, that's the default. The default is if you're in a gridlock tie of 50-50 and a near 50-50 in the House, then the country is telling you we are not wildly for change and we're not wildly for change the other way. The way it is right now is what's represented in our representative government. But somehow they believe, and I think they truly believe, they have a mandate to change the world, to change the United States at least, to take over voting, for the federal government to be in charge of your local elections, for the federal government to decide where your district lines are drawn, for the federal government to decide how you conduct your local elections. Let's see what we got here. WJ or Whisk 439 here. Thank you for jumping over here. I love when you guys come over. I'm sorry I got to do the thing with the glasses. Quick recap. We're not going to dwell on it. Thank you for following me over here from TikTok. For those that are new, I was in a plane crash. I've had damage to my eye. I've got a big bright light in my face. I wear sunglasses. Okay, here we are. We're going to have a good time. Not going to dwell on it. Life goes on. Awesome. I love you guys jumping over here. Thank you for telling me, Cass, that you like the sunglasses. Thank you guys for all jumping in here. Continue the conversation. I'll address them as we go along. I thought the president was going to come out and, in a way, soft reset and say, you know what, folks, we have 2022 ahead of us. What a great opportunity for us to move forward. And here's how we're going to move forward. And he can even slightly come off course, just a little bit. I know it's a big ship. I know that we're not going to do a hard deport right now. We're a large vessel. It's going to take us time. You can spin this, you can talk this up, but he has no charisma. He has zero charisma. He has no leadership. He's never been in a leadership position. He's never been an inspiring figure, which is why he's run umpteen times, 49, I think it's 49 times that he's run for president. He's been in office since before we had the Senate in the first place. I think he was the first guy there laying the bricks. And this guy has never actually inspired anyone, which is why he was never elected before. Let's be honest. He was elected because he was not Donald Trump. And the electorate was ginned up for 4 years of Russia, 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 the end of our democracy, the end of our institutions, tyranny and the like. Vote for anyone, not Donald Trump. Okay, country does that. So now we have someone who wants to take over your voting. That's not an end to our democratic institutions, right? You have someone who wants to get rid of the filibuster rule. That's not taking down our institutions, right? You have someone who from Washington, D.C. wants to tell you where you can go, when you can go, what documentation you have to show to go there, what you have to wear on your face, what medical procedures you have to do things that you wanted to do, because that's not tyrannical. That's not tyranny. You have a slim of a majority, the slimmest of majorities that we've ever had, saying they want to tell you how to run your life. Nope, he doubled down on the rhetoric. You're absolutely correct. He didn't soft reboot here. And he totally could have. And the media was just salivating for it, chomping at the bit. All right, all you over at TikTok, you want to see the rest of this, and I know you do. I gave you the sneak preview. You're getting about one more minute, and I'm cutting you off. You're coming over to YouTube with me. You're going to give me that subscription. You're getting this freebie, and then I need you guys to come over with me. He had an opportunity. The media is chomping at the bit to get something, because you remember they advocated for the guy. They advocated for the guy in the sense that they didn't ask him any follow-on questions. For example, Joe Biden said time and time again, I'm not going to shut down the economy, I'm going to shut down the virus. Quick follow-up, Joe. How? How, Joe? What's your plan? Joe Biden said, this president doesn't have a plan to defeat COVID, and I do. Quick follow-up, Joe. Real easy. How? Not one person. We know you're sitting in your basement. We know that you have a teleprompter in front of you. We've seen the reflection in things that were in your hand. We know you have the teleprompter. How do you have a teleprompter with answers to questions that we haven't asked you yet? It can't possibly be because we sent you the questions ahead of time. That definitely didn't happen. You hear the sarcasm. I gotta say goodbye to you guys. I love you. Thanks for the fire. I need you to follow me over to YouTube. I appreciate all of you being over here. Come on over to YouTube. You'll love it. They were complicit in it. They were a part of it. You might even say they colluded with him. When the Biden laptop came out, they shut you down if you wanted to talk about it. They took your account away. Misinformation. Misinformation. Which is why the First Amendment. Second Amendment is there to protect the First Amendment. That's why the First Amendment is there. Say your misinformation, I'll say mine. Because it turns out things that I said months ago that were labeled misinformation are now reality. Imagine that. The Hunter Biden laptop comes out. It's Russian disinformation. No reason to look at it. Just get rid of that. Oh, it turns out it's real. Turns out it's not disinformation. Well, blah, 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 he's not the president. Blah, blah, blah. Well, his son's got business in countries that this president is going to have to deal with. Yet there are people who support him. He is dangerous. There are people who can't stop supporting him. And that goes into what I'm talking about right now. Question were definitely set up yesterday for Joe. Yeah, questions were definitely set up. Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a second. Because the whole thing is set up. The media is absolutely complicit in what was going on, and they can't admit that they were wrong. So they're salivating. They're chomping at the bit. Joe, please pivot a little bit. You are not inspiring the nation. You don't have the wherewithal, the testicular fortitude to push something through. Your tactics are not working to sway people who disagree with you. Slightly shift. Let's get a win. There are variations of what you've proposed that you can win. Jen Psaki, you can go up there all you want and say the president tries for the hard things and we're not going to go for the easy things. Heck, she's far more inspirational than he is. Sometimes I listen to her talk and I'm like, well, damn, it sounds like a pretty good presidency, actually. I think they're getting a lot done to hear Jen Psaki tell the story. The media was complicit in the election. Therefore, the media needs to be right. Someone a second ago said that people still support him and that's dangerous. They support him because they can't not. They can't possibly be wrong, because to be wrong is to be on the side of Bull Connor, is to be on the side of Jefferson Davis, is to be on the side of George Wallace. And then when the president gets confronted with that, I didn't say that he was Bull Connor, because you can't be Bull Connor. Can you read? Can you read? Did you read the actual transcript that I had? No, you didn't say, and I didn't say that you said that this person is actually Bull Connor. I said that they're like the people that voted with Bull Connor. Same thing. Same thing, dude. Same thing. and they can castigate you as much as they like, but they can't change because then they would have to admit they were wrong. To admit they were wrong is to admit by default, Trump was right. You can't possibly have that. Ukraine got blindsided by a statement. We can talk about that here in a second, and we will. And I appreciate you interacting with me. Thank you so much. Make sure to give me a like, subscribe, send to your friends, continue to interact with the content. It helps out a lot. We have more from the great success story that he gave us yesterday. He actually overperformed. I'm not sure if you know that. There were detractors that said, Joe, you can't possibly pull out of Afghanistan and leave behind billions. He said, hold my beer. Overperformed. Joe, while you're at it, you can't possibly. We got a video. All right, Juan's going to have a video for me here in a little bit. I'll give you the cue here in a moment. Joe, you can't possibly kill some civilians on the way out the door. Absolutely, I can. Outperformed. Hey, Joe, while you're leaving, can you go ahead and funnel? You can't do that. You can't funnel people into one area, making them a target for a terrorist attack. Oh, I can outperform that. All outperforming, all great success. Juan, go ahead, give me that video and we'll get a little reaction going.
It's also been a year of enormous progress. We went from 2 million people being vaccinated at the moment I was sworn in to 210 million Americans being fully vaccinated today. We created 6 million new jobs, more jobs in 1 year than any time before. Unemployment dropped, the unemployment rate dropped to 3.9%. Child poverty dropped by nearly 40%, the biggest drop ever in American history. New business applications grew by 30%, the biggest increase ever. And for the first time in a long time, this country's working people actually got a raise. People, the bottom 40%, saw their income go up.
Oh, Joe, nothing but success. Thank you for that, Juan. I really appreciate you pulling that. Juan is a very busy guy. He's our producer. He's actually running the entirety of Right America Media. I'd like to give him a big shout out and a thank you. He's a veteran. He's a patriot. I really appreciate him. Give me a nice salute. I'll give you one right back. I'll give you that Colonel salute. All right, let's take a look at the big one. The vaccine. I'm hesitant to talk about it because I'd like to keep my platform, but I'll talk about what Joe Biden just talked about. He went from 2 million people to 210, I think was his number. Joe, you only work on the vaccine. Joe, can we look at some other measures? Joe, can we look at the idea of risk mitigation? Joe, are we allowed to look at these things or is it simply vaccine only? It looks like he doubled down on it. He looks like he's just full force ahead, vaccine only. You kind of hit your peak on this, dude. And there's other measures that we can take. There are ways that we can go forward. And I'm not talking about efficacy. I'm not talking about whether or not people should take it. I'm not even talking about the vaccine itself. I'm talking about your application of it. So don't take me down, YouTube. You're only vaccine. And people are done with you being only vaccine. People aren't as dumb as you think they are, Joe. They are not. They know there are other things they can do. They know there are things called risk mitigation. Joe, you created 6 million jobs? Created? You keep using that word. I don't think that word means what you think it means. Created, Joe. Created. So there was nothing that happened that increased the number of unemployed. There's nothing that happened before your election where we went from the highest participation rate that we've ever had in this country, where we had more jobs for Black, Brown, and Asian and women than we've ever had before. Nothing impacted those numbers, Joe. You just walked in and just created these jobs from thin air, Joe. I know these reporters held you to task on that, or they did the exact opposite. I know that these reporters asked for you to be specific in what you did that specifically created these jobs. I know these reporters wanted you to be specific in the difference of created or the jobs came back. I know these reporters wanted you to be specific in the sense of, are these new jobs? Are these the old jobs? What is the worker participation rate? I know they did that, or no, they didn't, because you had your pre-approved list again. And why anyone believes any journalist anymore or this administration at all when he has a pre-approved list with pictures next to him, because there's no way he knows these questions ahead of time. There's probably a couple that have a pair and throw in a couple of questions that they didn't run through Psaki ahead of time. Why are they building a wall around the White House? Man, it's weird because it's like in the front of the building. And the fact that they're not talking about it, we talked about this last week. The fact that they're not talking about it is what makes it weird. Like, if there's a reason, could you just tell us? Because right now you're just leaving a void for us to talk about it and make it up. Joe ruined the country in just 6 months. How his followers? They're not followers, they're anti Trump. And that's the big thing. All right, so we hit Joe, you're vax only, and there are people who know that there's other things that can be done. You use the word created, I think, a little differently than everyone, like perhaps at least me, and I pretty much represent everybody. Let's see what else we got. Um, you didn't talk about the participation rate at all. The participation rate is increasing because folks have found a way to originally use federal government money in order to stay home, which the press said wasn't the case, and I have the receipts for that. Um, then they said it's not the Republican states rescinding those federal benefits, as they call them, their handouts. It's not the Republican states rescinding that's causing the unemployment to drop. And then it actually was, because I know that's misinformation if you were to say the opposite. He did not create any jobs. He didn't create anything. These jobs were going to come back if you put a potato in there. If you put me in there, you were going to get these jobs back. We're the fact checkers. Because remember, Facebook admitted they're fact checkers. It's opinion only. Because if it's opinion, they can't be liable. He didn't create any jobs. People are just going back to work. Exactly. And for how long did those people stay at home as they collected and augmented federal unemployment? You put small businesses in direct competition with the federal government. All Peppermint Patty do is talk in complete circles. She's actually really good at her job. She's really good at her job. She went toe to toe with Dana Perino today, and Dana Perino is a former press secretary herself. And I'll give Psaki credit. She's good at her job. She has a way of taking the parts of your question, because it's always there's always like a lead up to it, and she'll pick apart your lead up, and maybe sometimes that's her response, which is a very effective way to do it. She throws a little charm in there first, which gets the asker off balance, and then she'll segue to something else that's a positive that she likes. She's extremely good at her job. I don't like her, but she's still extremely good at her job. They want to talk about this drop in child poverty rate. Where? I know that these um, journalists, I think that's the word, held them to task. How did you drop that, Joe? Where did that come from, Joe? What policy, law, what dollars specifically lowered that, Joe? No, we didn't do that. It's this tax credit that they're getting early, and I can't wait for people to file their taxes this year and realize that they're not going to get these huge returns that they've gotten back for years and years because the government gave it to them ahead of time. They've made it a part of their budget now. It's supposed to be temporary. Once the government does something that's temporary, they're never going to pull it back. I expect this to be passed in a law shortly because they're going to say you want to put people back into poverty, which is why they did it in the first place in a temporary. So that way later they could say you want to change it and you want to take it away from people. And that has not driven inflation. Pumping money into people's pockets has not driven inflation. And then he wants to say that the American people got a raise, still avoiding the fact of inflation. Nothing but great success, enormous progress. Inflation did not eat up your raise. Actually, yes, it did. You got Bloomberg saying it. Man, the man Bloomberg himself ran as a Democrat. His publication is saying your wages have been completely eaten up and then some. I'm sure these journalists held him to task about the idea that it was transitory. Everyone in finance that he put forward said it was transitory, not transitory. Now it's going into next year. It's almost like they misled us. It's almost like they knew it and misled us, or they didn't know it and you don't know how to do your damn job. So maybe you shouldn't be there. It feels like one or the other. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit of nuance in there. I actually don't know. The printing of money was doubled down on. He wants to print more money because inflation is transitory. Inflation is going to go away. His printing of money, he has said, he has economists who have said it's actually going to lower inflation. I love it when they say economists say, and we all go, oh, yeah, economists say, oh, yeah, they're a lot smarter than I am. Oh, yeah, economists say. Who? Who are these economists? Is it people that you've appointed? Is it people in your cabinet? Is it people that you've given money to for research? Is it people that you've supported in their campaigns? Like, who are these economists? Is it like the list of some 200 plus doctors that want Joe Rogan silenced online? And then it turns out a lot of these doctors are like PhDs in like education or an engineer or other people not in the STEM world at all. They're listed as a doctor. Are those the economists? I really always want to know. Economists say, or you said, Joe. Like which one is it? Because I kind of feel like it's you said, and we haven't seen the worst of the inflation. You're right, and it's going to get worse. I really appreciate you, George Pettit. George Pettit actually saw me at a red light this morning. He was actually messaging me on the TikTok, and then he saw me at a red light this morning, and then he burned me off the line. The man is a speed demon. The way forward from here, I really it goes back to the beginning of the show when I thought that the president was going to do a soft shift, and then he could rely on the media to spin for him that it's not a shift, it's not a change, and whatever else is they need to tell the American people that it's all good, everything's fine, we're all fine here. I thought he was going to do that. And instead, nope, I want to keep trying to take over your voting rights. And I'm not going to give up on that because that somehow shows that he's a leader and a fighter. I'm not going to give up on printing more money because that somehow shows that he's a leader and a fighter because we can't talk about inflation. And then here's a big one, the Ukraine. I saw one of the greatest tweets I've ever seen from Ben Shapiro, who said, and he's paraphrasing, Joe Biden told the Ukraine, you can go, I'm sorry, told Russia, you can go into the Ukraine as long as it's just the tip. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. That's basically what he said when he said he was willing to accept a minor incursion. Wow. I don't think you were supposed to say that out loud, Joe. I can only imagine what your communications team was doing in that moment. They were probably running for the hills. Some were barring and trying to nail down anything that was sharp. They were trying to close the windows to make sure people weren't jumping out of them. Joe, Booby, some of these things you got to keep to yourself, dude. But obviously, this is why they don't put him out there forward. They thought that it would be a good idea that he could make the pitch. He's not charismatic. He's not a leader. He's not going to galvanize anyone. He's going to say stupid stuff. He's going to say the quiet part out loud. He's not going to get anybody inspired. And he had an opportunity here. He really did. Another opportunity he had would have been to do this before the last couple of weeks that he had, where he gets shut down in the Supreme Court rightfully, and then where the Senate won't change the rules in order to have a simple majority, have full tyranny over the entire country. Had he done a press conference before, then he could have maybe run on his, not run on, talked about his bipartisan infrastructure bill. There's a bit of a win there. And I don't know, maybe some COVID stuff. But the idea here is because their policy is not out there regularly, then you only put them out there every once in a while. And then here you have a scheduled press conference that happens right after the two worst weeks that you possibly had. And then you go out there and go, yeah, I'm going to do more of it. I'm absolutely just going to do more of it. And you're all going to love it. And this is what we're going to do. I don't think that's what he should have done, but this is where we're going. It's funny how he doesn't want to talk about the border. So it wasn't him. He wasn't running the press conference. Those journalists, those hard hitting objective journalists, were there to ask him the questions. Obviously, the questions were pre screened. I know that. You know that. The man walks out there with a list every time he goes out there, and it's even got pictures next to it. And he gets asked the questions that he's already been prepared for. We did talk about the border, just not our border. We talked about the Ukraine border, and we talked about the Ukraine border. Should we not talk about the Ukraine border? Probably not. I will let you folks know there are border crises going on all over this world right now. There are countries that are lobbing artillery over their borders right now. They do this stuff all the time. But yes, it's Russia. So I just don't want you guys to, I don't want you to understand this stuff happens, but we do have to be forceful in our response. I wouldn't say that response was forceful whatsoever. I'm not saying that we're supposed to accept these things. I just want folks to know these things don't just pop up. It's not nothing but peace around the world. There's constantly almost a war all the time. This is a very big one. Yes, we need to pay attention to it. But to say that with a minor incursion, now let's couple that. Go back months ago where he said, here's a list of all the things you can't do, Putin. And then guess what? Putin knows what to do. Here's the playbook. Thanks for the playbook. Now I know where you find yourself to be most vulnerable. Let me go ahead and hit those because you told me exactly what you don't want me to hit. Going back to the border, we can't talk about the border. I will say I found it astonishing to find out that TSA will accept your warrant if you're here illegally as proof of identification so you can fly in this country. Please wrap your brain around that. The TSA goes, "Can I have your ID?" "Yep, here's my wanted poster." That's me on the wanted poster. Look, it looks just like me. Oh, that's him. Let him on the plane. The federal government, the law enforcement's looking for this guy, but let's let him on the plane. We're not going to address that. There's absolutely no reason to address that. I can't wrap my brain around that whatsoever. I really want to, but I just can't. And I laugh at this stuff and we make jokes and we laugh about it together because it's so out of control. What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to cry? But here's what we are going to do. Here comes the big pitch. Here's the one that you all know is coming. My big push for 2022. I'm going to pause like it's a child's educational show in the morning. What's the big push? We're going to vote. Do not rest on your laurels. We are not going to say we've got the big lead. There's been a 15-point swing on those that identify as a Democrat, that those now identify as a Republican. The red wave is coming. We're going to crush him. He's making Republicans every day. We're going to get him. We're going to get him. We're getting our voter integrity laws. Well, all of that is for nothing if we don't go vote. We are going to vote. We're going to talk to our neighbors about it because guess what? You're going to find out, like I did, that the neighbors both on my right and left, they're Republicans. They're MAGA people. And they were dying to talk about it, but we were all scared to talk about it. You're going to talk about it. You're going to get out and you're going to join your local Republican chapter. You're going to volunteer your time. Not everybody's got money. You got some time. You got some things you could do. You're going to be at the grocery store and you're going to hear somebody rumble about the prices. And you're going to say, hey, guess when these prices are low? Under Republicans. And here's a Republican that I support in the local area. Boom, done. You just turned your vote into 2 votes. And we're going to do that again. And we're going to do that again. And we're going to get out and vote. We're not resting on our laurels. The only thing that Biden has actually created is not jobs. He's created Republicans. And that is a fantastic thing. But we're not going to rest on our laurels and say that we're just going to win. We're not going to do what Hillary supporters did when they got complacent and believe the media who said, don't get out and vote, Trump supporters. Hillary's already won. They had the actual opposite effect, and Hillary supporters sat at home. We are going to get out and vote. This is absolutely going to happen. Juan, I see I've got a minute left. I see I've got my next show behind me. Are we ready to give a plug over to My Pillow? You ready for that? We are sponsored by My Pillow. The My Pillow guy gives us a sponsorship. You guys can run over there and use our promo code RAM, RAM, Romeo Alpha Mike, if you like. Get over there for some great products. I've got a My Pillow pillow, which is a little weird. I got some My Pillow sheets. They're great. They're comfortable. We love them. We're glad that he gives us an opportunity to be sponsored. It makes me feel kind of cool, other than the glasses. We started off with this. Maybe we can have a little fun, do a little magic trick. Who's coming after me? A good friend of mine, far better than me, far more intelligent. She has a great show coming up next. Kay Soak, who is deep in enemy territory of the Pacific Northwest. I see you here. You've been watching me for a while, making me very nervous. How are you tonight?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm really great. I could see your guest in the preview, and I'm so used to being in this room by myself, and I'm like, I have an audience. He's paying attention. Is he laughing? Did he think that was funny?
I know.
So I
No
saw him chuckle a
pressure.
little bit. It gave me a little bit of feedback.
Oh my gosh. And I love the shirt. That is fantastic.
This was sent to me from a follower. My followers might be better than your followers, maybe, but
I
probably.
think so.
Tell
Well, you know, my
tell
thing,
us who
I
your
don't give
guest
my
is tonight.
address out.
Oh, I did
We
a
have
PO
Harry
box.
on. I know. I need to get a P.O. box. I do because I would get some cool stuff like that. But
Some of these
yeah, we have an
boxes.
amazing guest coming on. We have Harry coming on, and we connected through Instagram, and he's in the textile industry. But we're going to go in a really cool direction with his knowledge, and so it's going to be a really interesting show. So I hope everyone hangs
Spoiler
on
alert.
for
Spoiler alert for the viewers.
it.
Harry
Okay.
is Harry. I can see the man right now. He has a beautiful beard, and I think he has a
Oh
bit of a
my God.
caged beast trying to free himself from underneath here, and
Oh,
I'm not angry about it.
Are
K-Soak,
you
I'm going to
jealous?
get out of here before I turn away all of your viewers. Thank you to everyone else who saw me tonight. K-Soak, on to you.